Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about the breathing space. This is a very efficient exercise or practice to really drop into this very moment. Rather than sitting on the cushion and meditate for long, this is a very efficient application of mindfulness practices that we can do throughout the day on a regular basis, but also when we need it. For example, when something is distressing, to just collect ourselves, to notice what's going on before we proceed or we enter a very similar or the same scenario even. So some of you have learned this technique by the name of the 3-minute breathing space. Some others sort of know it as the 3 steps breathing space. Again, as I said before, it is a breathing space, but it's not only the breath. So we really want to become aware of what is happening in our mind and what's happening in our bodies. Okay, so let me just draw this for you. If you imagine this practice as a Zen timer or an egg timer, it has the shape of it, maybe sometimes easier to remember. Let's see. So let me draw that first for you. This is a shape that I'm talking about, right? So that is something that can be easily remembered. So when we are in a particular moment, when we feel distressed, when we feel a little bit uncomfortable, or just in general to notice rather than keeping ourselves busy, it's really good sometimes to really deliberately stop and pause. And we want to do this in a particular way, okay? So what would be step number 1? Would be open awareness. That's how we call it. And what do we actually do there? Well, we want to check in with the mind state and the body state. So we're asking 3 questions. What are my thoughts? And when we are relatively new to this practice, we might notice that there is no particular thought. And that in itself, by the way, is a thought. And also, it doesn't mean that you, if there's nothing in particular coming up, that you have to search for it. It's just this momentary sort of awareness of what is happening and arising in this very moment as you're pausing and stopping and checking in with the mind states. So, is there a thought, a particular thought? What is the thought? Rather than getting involved in thinking the thought and starting to narrate a story, it is very much about just simply noticing the thought, noticing, acknowledging the thought. I know when we are new to this practice, this is not so easy. So that's a reason why it is actually really useful to practice it on a regular basis before you actually use this technique as a coping strategy. So that is question number 1. Question number 2 is, what am I feeling or what emotions are arising right now? And again, it is not about searching for it. You could even just use the hedonic tone. What does this moment feel like? Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. That is also something that we will sort of discuss in a different video at a different point in time. Maybe earlier we spoke about that already. So just finding out. Or you're noticing, I'm actually, as I'm pausing here, I'm noticing I'm actually feeling a little bit sad or feel frustrated or a little bit anxious. And so that's the mind states, the thoughts and the feelings. The third question that we want to drop is, and how is the body? What am I noticing in my body? Or sensing? Okay, and that might be very useful to quickly scan the body from the top of the head all the way down, and just to allow yourself a moment, doesn't have to take very long, to notice, can I feel somewhere a particular sensation of discomfort or of relaxation? You know, it can be both, of course, just want to take note of it. in this, what am I thinking? Maybe I'm a little bit feeling unprepared for the meeting, feeling a little bit anxious, and I'm noticing my heart rate is sort of just increasing. That would be the 3 answers through the 3 questions. So once I know, what do I do? That's the next question. And this is step number 2. Just taking a breath. Some form of anchor. For some, it is maybe not the breath. So shifting the focus from the awareness, step 1, thoughts, emotions, sensations, to the breath. Once you've acknowledged and noticed, shifting the awareness deliberately and intentionally to the breath and feeling the air coming in and out of the body. So for some, that might be very anchoring and grounding. For some others, it might be a little bit too difficult. So you can, of course, choose a different anchor. You can use sound as an anchor. You can feel your soles of the feet as an anchor. You can sort of start moving a little bit again. It depends on where you are. You can just offer yourself a supportive touch if you're familiar with the compassion practices that we're doing. So be playful. You can even use a visual cue. So making use of your senses. That is what we do in step number 2 to anchor and ground. And then, of course, we need to proceed. And before we actually proceed, we do step 3 to complete this practice and this check-in. That is about expanding. It's expanding and reconnecting with the environment. Being aware of the outer environment. This includes, though, just finish this. This includes having an awareness of facial expression, the entire body, the environmental landscape, just it's in a way kind of orienting yourself to space that helps you. And then we exit and we proceed. We re-enter the same situation, or we check in what other responses would be very skillful and helpful. So you could even ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? As I said in my other video, when I did this, I actually felt so tired that I thought, I actually need a nap. So I need a break. I need 10 minutes, 20 minutes maximum. I time my mobile phone so that I don't have to worry about time, have a nap, and then I can continue. So just explore this a little bit. It's a very efficient technique, as you can see. Step 1, 2, 3. And there are different applications to this practice. I will be talking about that in a different lecture again. So maybe just start here. And you can even see, as we're dropping that question at the end of this practice, you could also ask yourself here, step 2, when you anchor, checking in, okay, so would that be helpful to respond skillfully? Is there already something, maybe you need a supportive touch? Maybe you need to move a little bit and stretch the body. Maybe you need to get some water. Maybe you need just to get up and away from the desk, just for a moment to disrupt all these patterns and behaviors that we kind of easily engage and that we don't notice if we don't stop and pause. So this is something that you may want to start practicing, and we want to do this together now. So if you have some time, perhaps just being aware of the posture and allowing yourself to perhaps connect with the awareness of the soles of the feet. If you can, close the eyes fully or partially. And just checking in, step 1. So I'm opening up to this moment, opening awareness. What is actually present and arising in this moment? And being a bit specific and deliberate and intentional, asking yourself, okay, what are the thoughts right now that are arising? Might be thoughts about this technique, might be thought about something else. Just for the sake of the practice, just noticing the thoughts that are arising. Remember, you don't have to entertain them, you don't have to search for them, you don't have to push them away, just naming them. I'm noticing that I'm having a thought that I need to do some grocery shopping later, maybe, just as an example. Okay, so then checking in with, okay, and how am I feeling right now? Are there any particular emotions around? Maybe, feeling a little bit anxious or nervous. Maybe not. Again, there's no particular answer to this question. So just taking note of, as you're pausing, what is arising and naming it. And then third step within this first part. So the third question, okay, so, and what am I sensing in my body? Okay, so I'm briefly scanning my body. I'm noticing a little bit of a tension in my neck region. So notice what's happening for you. And then shifting the focus of awareness to the breath. And feeling the air coming in and out of your body, if that's the anchor that you are naturally drawn to. Or if it's possible to really connect with the awareness of the breath and feel the air coming in and out of your body through your nostrils. Or maybe feeling it in your abdomen region, just noticing the rising and falling sensations of the breath in this region, another way to anchor, not only in the breath but also in that movement. And then expanding the awareness, just being aware of the facial expression, so any frowning, sort of perhaps soothing, softening, becoming aware of the entire body, the whole body, sort of noticing the soundscape, maybe slowly opening the eyes and taking in the visual field as well. Maybe giving yourself a little stretch. And that's it. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Good luck with your practice. If you would like to have a guided kind of breathing space practice or meditation, just check out my channel. There will be some practices available to you that you can tune in. Otherwise, take another look. Step 1, open awareness. Step 2, gather your scattered mind. Step 3, expand awareness again and then proceed. First of all, you have to pause. And sometimes it's really good to time, maybe 3 times a day, to really get into this practice. If you've done this practice in the past, you might remember how efficient it felt. But then, we lose the momentum and we get caught up in our routines again. So it might be really helpful to time and have a nice sort of sound, the bell maybe on your phone that gives you that hint or prompt, time to pause. This can be 3 minutes, this can be 1.5 minutes, this can be 10 minutes. Whatever is doable, possible, just do it. Good luck.